What's up, everybody? How you doing? Hopefully I get this set up properly. What's up, man? How is everyone? Men and women, ladies and gents, go-getters. Oh, this is great. Here we are, January 9th. I almost missed this time period. I said this morning on my post I'd be here at 11. It's 11 Pacific. 2 Eastern, I almost missed it. Had a few things pop up this morning, but wanted to jump on here really fast and kind of talk about this idea. So if you haven't seen my post, go down, I think, on the page and picture of a boat sitting out at sea, and just the comment that was on my mind, the thought that was on my mind, comes up quite a bit in meetings with companies that I meet with, entrepreneurs, marketers, just friends, people in life, around this topic of safety, and people being afraid to take chances, being afraid to take risks. And I want to talk a little bit about this idea that safe is the new risky. Safe, in my mind, has been risky for quite some time. And so I speak obviously from the position of an entrepreneur, having been now an entrepreneur for the better part of the last 27 years. And listen, being an entrepreneur is not easy. And yes, there are tons and tons of risks. And this, again, if you're not an entrepreneur, this is not just about being an entrepreneur. But I look around all areas of life, and I look at all things going on in this world today, and people are settling for the safe option. They're settling for the less risky option. So I want to talk just a little bit about it. I'm not going to keep you here long today. But what's really at the heart of this topic today and in my mind is that each of us have a unique gift. Each of us have something that is uniquely different than any of the other 7+ billion people on this planet. And when I think about our willingness to step into that gift, our willingness to explore it, some of us are doing things daily that we are doing because we have to quote unquote make a living, or we have to quote unquote pay the bills, or because our parents said we had to do it, or because our spouse or significant other wants us to do it. And we're ignoring something that's deep down in our heart, that we know in our mind and feel in our heart that we think we should be doing something different. And if that resonates with you, and you know, or can resonate with that battle between your mind and your heart about something that you're doing, but you don't feel comfortable doing it, then this message, I think, today is for you. Safe is the new risky, in my mind, is that at any given time, our worlds can be turned upside down. You know, if you just go back a decade ago, I'm not sure how old you are watching this, but if you can go back a decade ago and you owned real estate, all of a sudden in 2007, 8, 9, 10, the world went completely, bonkers, went upside down. Everyone thought real estate was a safe investment. Everybody thought that there was nothing that could possibly hurt the market. And of course, that safety net of owning real estate became risky. Everything you do in life, I look at the crisis right now we face with college education and college loans. I've got kids in college right now, so I'm speaking from personal perspective as well as myself going through college. And I think about the crisis that is potentially on the horizon with so many kids taking out these big loans to go to these big schools, prestigious schools, to get these fancy educations. Nothing wrong with the education, but then coming out, and if you look at the statistics on how many of those kids are coming out not able to find work in today's economy. And I think that the idea of going through a 4-year process to learn theoretically what has been known to be the right thing to do, but then find that the world has changed by the time you get out of college, is what a lot of our young people face today. I have spoken at colleges. I remember a few years ago I went and spoke at my alma mater, UNLV, to the freshman group of business students coming into the school. And I graduated from the business school many years ago, 1996. And alumni advisors asked me to come in and give a talk, not just from an entrepreneurial standpoint, but to kind of give freshmen an idea of what things, how to prepare for the next 4-year journey. Number one, as a business student, but then number two, kind of what the outlook would look like in the business world. And of course, I'm heavily welded into the internet market. I'm heavily welded into the world of social media, heavily welded into the world of technology. And the reality of the speed of change, right? The speed of change, the SOT, in the world that I live in as an entrepreneur, as a marketer, as an advisor, as a coach, is so critical, not just to people that are in business or in marketing or in sales or running businesses, but I think everyone today is seeing how technology is affecting their workplace, how technology is affecting every single thing that you do. And to me, playing it safe is extremely risky. Today, what you need to be doing is adapting your skills to this new technology environment. You need to be adapting your skills to voice technology, Alexa, Google Home. If you're in the business world, you have to be adapting to doing business via the internet and via social media. We are watching companies come in and talk to us at our agency, which right now I'm here at our agency in our podcast studio. And companies are being disrupted overnight. We have a company that we had a conversation with, and they are the #1 service provider in their market, in their area. So they're a regional service provider in an industry that's been around for decades upon decades. And yet, while they sit, quote unquote, as the #1 service provider in that market, they are being disrupted by these new startups who are adopting technology and bringing new ways to provide that service without the old traditional process. A lot of companies out there are playing it safe. They're playing it safe as if the internet doesn't matter. They're playing it safe as if social media doesn't matter. The ability for me to turn on this camera today while I walk around with this whatever device, smartphone, iPhone, the ability to sit down with a small tripod that cost all of $20 with no external microphones or fancy equipment and be able to deliver a message to you without you paying for it, without you having to leave your desk or the comfort of your seat or your car, or maybe you're at the gym watching this, who knows. The ability to consume, educate yourself, and grow with these smartphones is not to be ignored. I think we get caught up in the ability to play the games and do the FaceTimes and do all the social cool stuff. But when we look at business, which is where I spend most of my world, when we look at marketing, sales, growth of companies, and let's be clear about something. The role that I play, the role that my team plays, the role that we play in the lives of businesses that we work with is so that we can help those companies grow. By those companies growing, they are then employing people. By them employing people, they are now creating new economy and new vibrancy in their own marketplaces and in their own communities. So, say, hey, great, you guys are a marketing firm. Fantastic. You're a business coach, business advisory firm. Great. Fantastic. But really at the core, we're affecting communities at the local level, because whatever we help companies do by growing revenue, it's not just to make business owners rich. It's not just to help people buy yachts and planes and stuff like that. That's not the deal. The deal is to help companies take a product or service to market in an entirely new way that is going to keep them from being sort of disrupted. Like if you just take a look at all the industries that are being disrupted right now, and I'm sure you know which ones that I'm going to highlight, but there are so many underneath these big ones that you don't know about. But if you take a look at the fact that Airbnb doesn't own hotels, they don't own a hotel. Uber and Lyft don't own vehicles. They have no inventory, right? They have no inventory. Amazon, right, came in and initially was a bookseller, and now they're probably at the top 1 or 2 places where you're going to go shop when you first go to shop. You're not running to that local store anymore, right? So if you're a small business owner watching this, you've got to be paying attention. If you're a mid-sized firm that has traditionally done well for the last 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and you're not paying attention to these changing dynamics, your business is at risk. Your business is at risk. How we consume content today, how we consume food today, how we consume our daily lives today, it is so easy to get caught up in the leisure side of today's changes technologically and find ourselves in risky positions. I'm going to kind of shift this a little bit into sort of a health paradigm. One of the things I'm becoming mindful of, being in my 48th year of life, heading to 49 this year, I'm mindful of how my body is reacting now to all of the technology. Sitting on my butt every single day, staring down at this device. I don't have it in my hand because I'm using it here, but looking down at the phone and what's going on with my neck. I've got a good friend who's a chiropractor, and I talked to her. We talked years ago, and talked about the growing problem we're going to have with our body and our posture and our neck, and what are our kids going to be doing because they're growing up with these devices. What's going on with our eyes, and how the blue light and so forth coming off of these devices are affecting our sleep, our REM sleep, our ability to get good, healthy, quality sleep. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for technology, but we have to be mindful of the risks they provide, right? Safe is the new risky. And so I don't know how this message may apply to you today where you are, but I think the one thing I'd like to say as I begin to wrap up is, if you know you're playing safe, I need you to challenge yourself. If you know there's something you should be doing, if there's a path that you have had a vision for, you need to start stepping into that today. Stop waiting until tomorrow, into next week, into next year. We are in next year. This is 2019. It's a perfect time to launch into that vision. Today, there's no excuse not to say that you don't have the resources, because as long as you have a smartphone watching this broadcast, you have almost everything you need to launch into that vision. I can think back to a young gentleman who's now a youth pastor. As a matter of fact, he's not even a youth pastor. I think he's an associate pastor in Texas. And he saw one of my videos some time ago. And if he's watching this, he's just a young, dynamic cat. I mean, 20, I don't even know his age. I want to say he's somewhere between 25 and 30. He reached out to me on Facebook and said, hey, how do I get my message out there? I've got a heart for God. I've got a heart for sharing God's wisdom with the world. And how do I get reach to more people? And I said, brother, the same way you reached out to me, turn on that phone and start sharing your message. Turn on your phone and start sharing your message. And sure enough, he started doing that, and he started doing that, and he started doing that. Next thing you know, he's an associate pastor for a church. He's written a book. I think he's written 2 books. So if you're watching that, I'm not going to call out your name, but if you're watching it, congratulations to everything you're doing. I see you. We haven't chatted in a while, but I see you. Thank you for the book that you sent me in the mail. I really appreciate that. But whatever's going on right now with you, everything might be going on really, really well. But challenge yourself to be looking ahead at the potential obstacles. What could disrupt your life? What could be a potential risk? Maybe you don't feel as good as you feel like you could feel. Start leaning into that and taking action on that. Start leaning into that discomfort you have when you wake up at 5 or 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning to go to work, and you have this discomfort about going to your workplace. Maybe it's people that you work with. Maybe it's the boss you work for. Maybe the work you're doing isn't fulfilling. Anybody today can pivot and change what they're doing. I have people that talk to me on LinkedIn, and they'll talk to me about advice about how to change careers, how to go from a career they've been doing for so long and their resume is completely, some of you may not know this, but I spent 12 years in the mortgage industry. All of a sudden, 8 years later, 9 years later, I run an internet marketing company. Started from the ground up. People wonder, well, how did that happen? Well, there's a backstory to that, but your resume isn't the highlight reel of all you're capable of, right? Your resume is not the highlight reel. What I tell people when I'm talking to them on LinkedIn, because I guess I don't know, I signed up at some point to be some mentor or whatever as an advisory person, and it just means people can reach out and say, hey, how do I get into the digital marketing space, but I'm coming from this space. And so I just write them back a little email based on their profile and try to give them some advice. But this idea of making shifts and changes, it's not just about, what you've done. What you've done was for a period of time, and it developed a certain set of skills. The reason I was able to repurpose my life into this world of digital marketing was because I was already in marketing and sales offline. And though I was in the mortgage industry, that was just the product or service that I sold at that time, that I delivered to the marketplace at that time. I've been in 6 different companies. I've had 6 different businesses, or 6 different businesses, 6 different industries. So it's not about the thing that you do that makes you valuable. That's your unique gift. Your unique gift is what you have developed in terms of your skill set that you do that is uniquely gifted to you. I have people all around me here at this company. I have friends in different industries and different spaces that I collaborate with, that I mentor with, that I mastermind groups with. And I look at each of those people and each of their skill sets. And I'm not jealous of their skill sets, nor are they of mine, but we look and marvel at each other about, wow, it's not that I want to do it that way. It's the fact that I know how powerful it is that they can do it that way. And the fact that I can tap into that expertise is critically important. So, I want to bring this to a close. This idea of safe is a new risky. A boat is safer in the harbor, but that's not what it was designed to do. You may be at a safe place right now, but I'd ask you and challenge you that if there's some level of discomfort in your head or your heart about where your life is going, where your business is going, where your fulfillment is right now, then maybe you're in the harbor playing safe. And I would challenge you to start to explore, start to pull out a journal and start asking for guidance and just saying to yourself, where should I be going right now? What should I be doing right now? And maybe some of you know it, and you've even begun looking for the path or getting the help or getting the resources, and you just haven't done it yet. You keep putting it on the back burner. Like, I've got a project right now I've had on the back burner for 9 years. I'm finally launching into it. So part of this story and part of this conversation is advice to me too, right? You know, as an entrepreneur, I get thousands and thousands of ideas, and a few of them stay on the shelf. And sometimes it's always about timing, right? But at the end of the day, when you have that feeling in your heart and it stays with you, you want to lean into it and really evaluate, am I playing it safe, or am I really not stepping into that destiny that I was called to? So anyway, I hope this finds you well. I'll be back tomorrow, and hope you're having a great rest of the day. Talk to you soon.